So, I want to talk about the death spells that David put on me. When they were first happening, when I was receiving death spells, I had no idea what was going on. I was just getting sick, and it was unnatural for me to get sick so often. So, I would go to the doctor, they could not find what was going on. And the Lord really just shared with me. Um, Later on what was taking place. And I remember being extremely sick in March. In fact, around March 16th of this year was the last major death spell that David um, put on me. And with that one, he actually paid a lot of money to um, a witch doctor from Africa, a woman, and he paid this woman, a lot of money to do a death spell on me. And I remember calling the doctor, and they refused to see me because I did not have any underlying issues. So they weren't able to see me. And the pandemic had just started, COVID had just started at that time. I don't believe it was that. I believe that it was this death spell that David put on me. The symptoms were much worse than the symptoms that I've heard from individuals that were that did have COVID at the time. And it literally feels like your organs are shutting down and so many other symptoms. And I dealt with this for about a month. During that time, I was just pleading the blood. I was just praying. I was even fasting while I was sick. I was in my word, and I knew that what he had done in the Lord, because he shared things in steps. I began to learn what it was that David had been doing. And then I was able to backtrack over the years, because remember, this has been going on for more than 3 years. So I began to go backwards and think of all the times when I have felt really sick, or when I was just suddenly really clumsy. All those things are witchcraft and death spells that's being put on you. And I have not had these kinds of things take place before. I remember another time where I was rushed to the hospital. With this is still within this time frame when David did a death spell on me, and my throat completely closed up, and the doctors could not. I was admitted to the emergency room for this one. This was before the pandemic, about a year prior, when he did another major death spell. And I was given medication in hopes that it would work, but it wasn't specifically for anything, because the doctors could not figure out what it was. And that was another death spell that he had done on me. And the hatred for me is so great, because anything that this entity has experienced in its life, it blames me. So it uses my face as the culprit, or as the cause of what they have gone through, even from their birth. Anything that they have gone through, being rejected by their parents, the abuse that they've suffered through, anything that they have gone through, they chose me as the scapegoat for it. And that sense of hatred is so deep rooted. There's no, this person, this entity is not a person. This entity is beyond help at this point. And so, as I mentioned in previous videos, it uses dark energies in order to fulfill what it wants. And unfortunately, the people that are helping it to do these death curses against me, are these death spells for me to die. Many times it backfires, and it either kills them, or it kills someone within their family, or it kills someone connected to this ring, this circle of witches, this circle of evil. entities that are doing these things against human beings of the light, against children of God, it generally backfires on them. There was one man of God who actually prayed for David in helping them to do these things, not knowing that David is operating from the devil. He is a son of Satan, and he does operate from dark energies. This man of God did not know, was manipulated, was confused, was under an illusion spell, prayed for him, and he died. So many times, you have to be very careful praying for the devil. You need to know who you're praying for. Ask the Lord that his will be done, and that any entity that's coming to you asking for prayer, essentially, you need to investigate why they are asking you for prayer. Are they trying to connect you in some evil coven or some sort of secret society that they're doing behind the scenes? And take it before the Lord. Take everything before the Lord, especially as it pertains to spirituality. Take everything before the Lord. Do not be dismayed, deceived, confused, disillusioned. Do not. Take everything before the Lord. And so that is part of my story in relation to the death spell. There are so many. I do have medical records where the doctors were essentially dumbfounded. They were confused. I am a healthy woman. I have always been a very healthy woman. I'm having a human experience, so I do have, times when, I don't always eat the best, but I do have a certain diet that I live by, and we were both very confused. And again, because my father shares with me in part, I did not know that it was a death spell at the time. But now that I am aware what it is, I am able to go back with my medical records and be able to see the times that he actually put out this death spell for me to die because of his hatred. But he does tell people that the hatred that he has is love. So he doesn't call it hatred to other people. He calls it love. It is not love. Satan does not have love at all. Not for anyone, not for itself. It doesn't have love at all. So let's be very clear. In order for someone to love another human being, another person, or someone else, they have to first love themselves. And this entity, in order for them to do death rituals, that means that they don't love themselves. Anyone operating from a lower place, a sunken place, lower vibrations, they don't have love for themselves. That's why they turn to the dark side, because they don't know what it's like to experience love at all. So any kind of rejection of any kind, of any magnitude, is worthy of death to them, because when someone comes in their presence that bring the light, it is so unusual for them that that person leaving out of their midst or out of their facility or away from them is worthy of death to them, because they have never experienced the light. So I just want to be very clear and let you all know, please be careful if you are involved with this individual, that he does like to do death spells. He does like to do conflict spells and illusion spells. I'll talk about that in a moment.